Thomas Jennings. And if it wasn't for him, your nice clothes would always stay dirty. Because in 1821, Thomas walked into the United States Patent Office. And it was at that moment that the world got introduced to dry cleaning. So stay with me, because the story behind this will blow your mind. You see, Thomas was living at a time in this country when most black people were being sold. But Thomas was different. He was a free man. But I promise you, his time wasn't free. He was running a tailor shop in Manhattan, New York, and he was getting paid because his clientele was wealthy. I'm talking about people who wore silk and fine wool. That's that type of drip you couldn't afford to ruin. But there was one problem. Every time one of his customers came in, their beautiful clothes would have a stain. Back then, the only real option was water, scrubbing, heat, and more water. But if you try that maneuver on some silk, you might hand back something that can never be worn again. Jennings was too good at his craft to not solve that problem. So he started testing different things, different liquids, and what he figures out is the problem never was a stain. The problem was using water to clean it. You see, water can destroy certain fabrics, but a different kind of cleaning liquid can clean it without destroying what it's made of. He called his process dry scouring, not because it was dry, but because it wasn't water. And it worked. Clients started trusting him with things they wouldn't take anywhere else. And here's where Jennings made a call most people in his position wouldn't. He thought, if somebody wants what I got, they're going to have to talk to my lawyer. So he took his invention straight to the patent office and filed. But this is in 1821, and the patent office is barely 30 years old. What that really means is the people who actually knew how to use patents were white and probably all connected. Thomas Jennings walked in as a free black man in a country that still legally classified most black people as property. He laid it all out, made his case, and they gave it to him. The first known United States patent granted to a foundational black in a country where people who looked just like him were being sold. And here's where it gets crazy. But go ahead and like the video if you like it this far. You might be thinking, if Jennings was making the big bucks, what did he do with the money he was making from his business? Well, I'm glad you asked. This man bought his family out of slavery. His own family, who were enslaved. He bossed up and walked them all out as freedmen. The story doesn't stop there. In 1854, 33 years later after Thomas got that patent, his daughter was thrown off a New York City streetcar because she was black and she got in the wrong car. But Thomas and his daughter were not going for it. So she sued and she won. Her name was Elizabeth, but people called her Jenny. One of her attorneys was Chester Arthur, who later became president of the United States. More than 100 years before Rosa Parks became the face of that fight, Jennings was already winning in a New York courtroom way back in 1854. So Jennings didn't just solve a laundry problem. He bought his family's freedom with what he built and raised a daughter who kept fighting for more of it. The dry cleaning industry today is worth roughly $40 billion. And it starts, in part, in a tailor shop in Manhattan, New York in 1821.